Quantum physics experiments have shown that what we think of as solid matter and energy aren't really as solid as we perceive them to be.
The double-slit experiment defies our understanding. It involves a laser shooting beams of light particles, called photons, at a screen with two parallel slits. If we mark all the spots where the photons hit the second wall, we should expect to see two strips to correspond with the two slits. But that's not what we see. Instead, we see an alternating pattern of light and dark bands. This is characteristic of the behavior of waves that pass through both slits simultaneously, interfering with each other to create the pattern on the second screen. This phenomenon occurs even if the photons are fired one at a time, which suggests that the photon is interfering with itself as if it passes through both slits at once. When scientists used a measuring device to observe the slit that each photon passed through, the interference pattern disappeared and the photons started behaving like particles. Instead of the spectrum of light and dark bands, we see two bright bands indicating that the photons chose one slit or the other. So light can show characteristics of both particles and waves known as wave-particle duality. It appears that light decides to behave as a wave when it's not being watched, and acts like a particle when it's being measured. The mere act of observing which slit it went through changed the behavior of the photons almost as if they were aware they were being watched.
Instead, reality is more about our minds, our consciousness, the subconscious, and the unconscious. Everything around us is made up of possibilities or states.
I go into these states. Now, look at it this way. See the whole vast world as infinite state.
Our reality is viewed as a quantum universe filled with infinite waves of probability, encompassing every conceivable possibility, outcome, and scenario, all existing simultaneously. Time is not experienced as a linear progression. Instead, space-time is merely a human construct used to organize events and memories. There is no movement forward or backward because past, present, and future are considered simultaneous in the eternal now moment. The particles everything is made up of, including us, is not bound by time. Everything in the universe is made up of atoms, and they all contain 99.9% empty space, which is energy, and 0.1% mass. And the probability waves are just atoms that vibrate at a frequency so fast that you can't see them. But here's how you can make these waves of probability visible in your reality. You do this by becoming aware of the possibility or outcome you would like to experience, and by just holding on to the faith that it can or will happen.
If I know what I want, when I pray, believe that I have received it, and I will.
This works because where your focus goes, energy flows, and the waves of probability expand and start to turn into physical matter, and it has to show up in your 3D reality for you to experience it.
Say, I have a certain thought. At the same time, something else, quite independently, happens that portrays just that thought. Yeah. For instance, just so I speak of a red car, and at that moment, a red car comes here. Yes. Now, I hadn't seen it. It was impossible because it was behind the building. In this moment, the red car appears. We can't say, now this car has appeared because here was some remarks have been made about the red car.
Yeah. It's not cause and effect.
Oh, this is a miracle that the red car appears. It's not, it is chance, it's just chance. But these chances happen more often than chance allows. Yeah. And that shows that there is something.
The waves do not have minds of their own. It's based off the way you choose to observe them that determines if they either lead you to that reality or they just stay as waves of probability. So everything you want to experience in your reality all comes down to you and what you choose to believe and how you choose to perceive things. Because the only reality that truly exists is consciousness, and everything resides in consciousness, and consciousness resides in everything.